proposal will also restore work requirements that ensure able-bodied adults without dependents earn a paycheck and learn new skills. That will grow our economy and help the supply chain. Right now, there are more job openings than people who are looking for jobs. You know why? It's in part because the Biden administration weakened work requirements.
Or it could have something to do with the fact that we've been preventing immigrants from coming into the country, and our economy actually relies pretty heavily on the workforce coming from other countries. But nonetheless, that was Republican House Speaker Kevin McCarthy speaking before the New York Stock Exchange, the actual individuals that Republicans like Kevin McCarthy seem to care about. And he wanted to talk about how the GOP is planning to negotiate with Democrats on whether to raise the debt ceiling. And if Democrats want the GOP to be on board, they better implement work requirements when it comes to social safety net programs. Now, just a point of clarification, because you're gonna keep hearing Republicans repeat this over and over again without providing a single example. The only example that we could find of the Democrats, the Biden administration in particular, doing away with work requirements had to do with Medicaid programs, state level Medicaid programs. The Biden administration does not want work requirements in order for individuals to be able to get the health care they need to, survive, to stay alive. And I think that's the common sense approach to this, but not according to people like Kevin McCarthy. So why don't we go to McCarthy's whole plan for the debt ceiling negotiations, which you'll hear in this next clip.
Okay, so here's our plan. In the coming weeks, the House will vote on a bill to lift the debt ceiling into the next year. Save taxpayers trillions of dollars, make us less dependent upon China, curb our high inflation, all without touching Social Security and Medicare. Simply put, it puts it on a fiscal responsible path in three ways. It limits, it saves, and it grows. First, we'll limit federal spending. Our legislation accomplishes the same goal by returning the federal government to 2022 levels. And then limit the growth of spending over the next 10 years to 1% of annual growth. Our proposal will examine wasteful Washington spending and executive overreach in all forms. Among other items, it will claw back tens of billions of dollars in COVID-related money. Our proposal will also restore work requirements that ensure able-bodied adults without dependents earn a paycheck and learn new skills. That will grow our economy and help the supply chain. Don't believe anyone who says our plans hurt American social safety net. We're a very generous nation.
Now, what House Speaker Kevin McCarthy lacks in common sense, he clearly makes up in charisma. Cenk, what are your thoughts?
So he's speaking of the New York Stock Exchange, and that's what makes this speech even more ironic. So these are the same guys that we gave trillions of dollars to in 2008 when they crashed the world economy. They were all able-bodied adults. Maybe what we should have done instead was retraining and get them some new skills so they can get new jobs, because they apparently suck at banking. Now, of course, what they are really good at is taking home all of your money and then making things crash and then making you pay the bill. So that's what happened in 2008. It almost happened again with the bank failures a little while ago. And we definitely should have put work requirements in. Instead, what we did, led by people like Kevin McCarthy, was we had the Fed print several trillion dollars and hand it to them. We had the United States Treasury give them hundreds of billions of dollars. And then we didn't even say you can't take a bonus. They took bonuses for crashing the world economy. It costs here in America about 13 million jobs initially. They got a bonus for that. And these bums, the biggest bums in America, are sitting there nodding their head. Oh yeah, make the average man, make them work. They're not working enough, they're lazy. Unlike us sophisticated bankers.
And by the way, that talking point has been debunked so many times, and we're gonna do it again. But before we do, I wanted to just reinforce your point, Cenk, about the bonuses after the financial collapse of 2008. Let's go to graphic 5 here, because in January of 2009, President Obama called financial institutions shameful for giving themselves nearly $20 billion in bonuses as the economy was faltering and the government was spending billions to bail out financial institutions. No. Now, Obama calling them shameful was as far as Obama was willing to go.
No, I got to jump in. No, Obama was shameful.
Yeah, I agree.
So
totally.
And now all the Republicans helped him, and so it was perfectly bipartisan. But by the way, Democrats, I know you got some good, propaganda from MSNBC and think that Democrats can't do anything wrong and Obama can't do anything wrong. What do you mean shameful? You let them take $20 billion in bonuses. You're the one who bailed them out. At a bare minimum, when you bailed them out, you should have put conditions on there. If it was a private company that bailed out those banks, they would have owned all those banks. That's how capitalism works. And they certainly would have attached conditions saying you can't pay yourself bonuses, let alone 20 billion in bonuses. But Obama, you didn't do that on purpose, because guess who the #1 donors to Barack Obama's 2008 campaign were?
Citibank?
The bankers, okay? As a group, as an industry, they were the #1 donors to Barack Obama. Don't believe mainstream media crap, just like you don't believe Fox News crap. They're both lying to you. So these bankers have gotten away with murder 1,000 times. One more thing about what McCarthy's saying. He's talking about the debt ceiling. If those guys in that room thought he was really not gonna lift the debt ceiling, which would cause the stock market to crash, the stock market he's speaking at, they'd rip his face off. They'd have the authorities arrest him before he left the room.
They'd be rioting.
Yes.
Let's just keep it real, because not raising the debt ceiling would lead to a complete meltdown of the global economy. The folks over at the New York Stock Exchange would be panicking about that.
So what they're doing there is they're winking at one another, like, oh, let's pretend we're not gonna raise a debt ceiling, wink. Okay, so that we can do massive cuts to the average man and funnel the money to you, wink.
Yes.
And everybody in the audience is like, yes, the average man's a bum. Take the money from him and give it to my billionaire ass. Okay, that's for the sick people in power. But I'm sure you heard that in mainstream media already, right? Oh, right, you never heard any of that, interesting.
So let's also just, for the billionth time, debunk this narrative regarding work requirements and how they're necessary. Otherwise, these lazy couch potato Americans aren't gonna work. So in 2016, the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities actually published a thorough examination of this whole of work requirements, and they actually did kind of like a meta-analysis looking at multiple studies over the years. Here's what they found. So work requirements only boosted employment for a short period of time, if at all, and those gains faded over time. In fact, let's pause for a second. Fact of the matter is, when it comes to Americans who tend to rely on our social safety net or whatever's left of it, a lot of them are already working. It's just that their wages not only have failed to keep up with inflation, their wages are so abysmal that we, the taxpayers, end up subsidizing their employer who refuses to pay a decent living wage. Now, Americans who found stable employment through work requirement programs were the exception, not the norm, according to the meta-analysis that was done in 2016. In fact, many Americans need government assistance precisely because they have disabilities or other issues that make them unable to work. Of course, work requirements didn't help these people at all. The most successful government programs were those that actually helped Americans learn new skills rather than simply expecting them to find a job on their own. And the vast majority of Americans in work requirement programs actually ended up staying poor. In fact, some became even poorer, according to the meta-analysis done in 2016. So that's what the reality is. But Republican lawmakers know that. The people at the New York Stock Exchange know that. They don't care. They love the idea of cutting any and all funding to programs that benefit ordinary people, because that means they can justify additional tax cuts and more redistribution of wealth from the bottom to the top. They love it. They can't get enough of it. If Democrats even humor Republicans on negotiations over the debt ceiling, I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah, they're humoring them right now. In fact, so one of our members on YouTube, William Zaragoza, wrote, and the question is, will corporate Democrats play ball with McCarthy's BS? My answer is definitely, definitely. So there's two reasons why. Joe Biden is the fish rots from the head down. So Joe Biden, number one, is a corporate Democrat, which is the equivalent on economic issues of a Republican. So he can't wait to cut from the average guy. That's who he's been his entire career. Anyone telling you otherwise is like literally purposely lying to you. His entire career is that of a super conservative Democrat who almost always agrees with Republicans on economic issues. So, and right now he's in the middle of negotiating with them. Why are you negotiating with them? Go ahead, don't lift the debt ceiling. Destroy the economy and have the Republican Party blame for it for the rest of eternity. Go ahead, I dare you. I'd do that so quick. But Biden, A, loves this theater, participates, is a principal actor in this theater, and B, he knows that the media is also part of the play, so they'll never call him out on his BS. But even if he didn't believe all of that, which he most certainly does, you think Biden's got enough cojones to actually call a bluff? No, Biden is the weakest man in America.